everybody. So we're gonna go ahead and start our notes now. I told you that you're just gonna copy everything that you see on the page or that I write. I tried doing it with handwritten stuff, but my video thing was not working very well. So I'm just gonna have this type thing. Feel free to pause the video so you can copy it. But we're gonna go ahead and write at the top of your page. I need you to go ahead and write Unit 1 expressions, okay, because that's our unit that we're doing. And then underneath it you can write day 1, which I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and you're going to call day 1 translating expressions, okay? So I just say unit 1 expressions, day 1 translating expressions. And in this, on the corner over here, not there, write the date that you actually are doing this, so you have a reference like when this was happening. Okay, so expressions, translating expressions, and the date. That's how you're going to head your notes. Now, underneath all that, you're going to write all these different operations, because what we're doing today is we are trying to figure out the words that mean the operations and how we can describe operations. So we're translating from talking to math, basically. Okay? Now you do not need to draw all these shapes. Do not draw these shapes. Just write the words. Addition, give yourself some space. Subtraction, give yourself some space. Then write turnaround words. Give yourself a little space. Then we're going to write multiplication and division. And then we're going to write parenthesis words at the bottom. Okay? So the way it's going to pop up is they're all going to be within the shape. You guys can just make a list. Just list them underneath the word. Okay? No need to make it complicated. I'm sorry I couldn't delete this for some reason, so it just happened. I'm just trying to get it up for you. Okay? So it's a work in progress. Alright, so let's start with some addition words. Some words that mean addition. So some words that you're going to see are combined, add, sum is the product, is what you get when you add numbers together, so that's the result you get once you've added. Increased by, we've got more, plus, and. Those are all words that mean addition. So again, you guys can just list these words under addition. Okay? And if I'm going too fast, please pause the video. Okay? Some words that mean subtraction. Now, subtraction is very interesting because there's two different kinds of words that can mean subtraction. One is the straightforward subtraction, like 5 minus 2. So, or 6 subtract 2. Okay? Those are very straightforward. As you hear them or as you read them, that's how you're going to write them mathematically. Others are turnaround words. Okay? Which means they're said a little bit backwards than the way you would write it mathematically. So I'll show you those as well and just tell you some examples. So subtract is a straightforward subtraction one. Another one is difference. That's the result you get when you do subtraction. Minus is another one, like 5 minus 2. Fewer, 5 fewer 3. So it's like 5 comma fewer 3. Decreased by is another one. So those are all straightforward. As you read them, that's how you write them. Some turnaround words, which means you're going to have to flip it when you do it mathematically, are less than. 3 less than 12 does not mean you write it 3 subtraction sign 12. 3 less than 12 means you're doing 12 minus 3. So you have to turn it around a little bit. Fewer than. So if you add the and or the than on the end of fewer, it becomes a turnaround word. From is another one. 3 from 12 means you're doing 12 minus 3. Okay? Next is multiplication. So some multiplication words are per. So if you do 15 miles per hour, you're doing 15 times the number of hours to find out how far you go. Multiple is another one. Twice. That specifically means you're multiplying by 2. Times. And product. Product is the result you get when you multiply things together. Some division words. are quotient, which is the result you get when you divide. Shared, so if you have 12 cupcakes and you share them with 3 people, that means each person gets 4 cupcakes. Divided by. And ratio, like when you set up a fraction, that's another, or fraction is another one of division as well. So again, if I went too fast, please pause the video so you can write them all down. Lastly are our parenthesis words. So these are words that show us that we have to do some operation first before we can do it, before we can do another operation. So we have to make this group, like order of operations, make it into a group to do it first before we can do something else. So for example, times the difference of. Well, in order to multiply something by a difference, you must first do the subtraction to find the difference. So this is a parenthesis word because you'd have to do the subtraction first, and then once you have that answer, then you can multiply it by whatever's in front here. Twice the sum of. So again, sum is a word you get when you do addition, or it's not a word, it's a number you get when you do addition, so it's a result, meaning you have to do this addition first, and then you can multiply it by 2. Plus the difference of. So again, difference. Another thing, if you had like plus the quotient, you'd have to do the division first, or plus the product, you'd have to do the multiplication first. So a lot of these result words, they're going to be clues that you have to do some, like you have to work in a parenthesis first and do these things first. Last one is quantity. So quantity is basically a result, but it could have multiple things in it. So whenever you see quantity, whatever's after it, you should put in parentheses, because that means you have to do that first, so you can get the value, the quantity of those parentheses, and then use it for whatever operation it needs to be used for. Okay? So now we're going to try some examples. Again, if you need to, pause the video so you can write them down. This is example 1, so I'm just going to label it EX1. You don't need to write the whole, the directions, but you do need to write out the words. Okay, so you will be writing twice a number times the square root of the sum of 15 and the number cubed. So take a second, pause the video so you can write that out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and translate these words into math. Okay, so what I like to do is go through and make sure I know what symbols they actually are representing. So twice a number, or twice, means that I'm going to be multiplying by 2. A number is just any number, but since we don't know what it is, we can't just put a number there. We have to put a variable. Okay? Times means to multiply, which I didn't put there. The square root is the square root symbol. I don't know where my square root symbol is, but I'm going to do the square root of the sum. So that means I have to do the addition here, and whatever's following it, all that stuff's going to go under the square root. So, because that's going to give me the sum of 15, and that number, so that same number, y, cubed. Cubed means an exponent of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put it all together now. So twice a number means I'm multiplying by a number, times the square root of the sum. So this of the sum means that you're going to have to put this in parentheses. 15 plus y cubed. Okay? So now I'm just going to merge together. This whole parentheses is going to go under the radical. So I have 2y times, because we're multiplying with variables, I don't need to have a times symbol. You can, but you don't need it. Times the square root of that whole parentheses. Okay? If you need to, pause the video and you can move on once you're ready. Here is example 2. So I'm just going to write EX2. Again, you don't need to write the directions for the examples, but you do need to write out the words. So the quotient of the quantity of a product of 3 minus 4 and 9. Okay, so quotient is like the result you're going to get when you divide. Okay, quantity means I'm using parentheses. So what's going to go in the parentheses? The stuff that follows. The product of 3 and y, so product means I'm multiplying, minus 4. So that means subtraction, and 4. So this stuff, this operation right here, 3y minus 4, is what's going in the parentheses. and 9. So that's part of the quotient. Okay? The stuff that comes in the front, this part, the quantity of the product of 3y, that is the stuff that goes on top of your division, and the stuff at the back goes on the bottom of your division. Okay, so here's how we're going to set it up. So we've got 3y minus 4 is what's going in the parentheses. That's the top of my quotient. The bottom is 9. So I'm just going to write it 3y minus 4 over 9. You can put the 3y minus 4 in parentheses, but because you're not doing anything else to it, you don't need it. But that would be my final answer. Okay? The last thing you're going to do are these two try on your own. So I'm going to leave them here so you can copy them. You can just pause the video, and you're going to try these on your own. You do need to write, so you need to label try on your own, and after it you can put a colon, and you can write translate into math, because they're both being translated into math. So you do need to write your directions here. Okay? And then you're going to write out the words, and then underneath it you'll write out the math. Okay, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Alright, if you have any questions, please write them down as well. We will answer them next class. Other than that, that's all I got for this video. We will talk about all these try on your owns next class, and we'll do an activity to make sure we understand it. Okay? Bye, guys.